Breaking news here on CBS Sports HQ. FAU head coach Dusty May headed to Michigan. That's the latest from our Matt Norlander, as Dusty May heading to Michigan to take over the Wolverines program after the program parted ways with Juwan Howard. And now he will look to resuscitate that program. That program looked like it was on the up and up, and things went south under Juwan Howard. Unfortunately, now Dusty May, who of course led FAU to the Final Four last season, now looking to put Michigan back on the map. And back here with Chip Patterson and Matt Norlander. Matt Norlander breaking the story here. Dusty May to Michigan. How did this all come together?
Well, this is just literally breaking as we're on the air here. I had a source confirm to me and send that it is Dusty to Michigan. FAU gets knocked out of the tournament on Friday. I was there. I asked Dusty on camera for HQ how long he expected this timeline to take. He didn't give an answer. Got indications later on in the evening. FAU had a delayed return out of New York. Got in late to Florida on Friday, and then Saturday was a lot of discussion about what job it would be. Had a standing offer from Louisville. Michigan was involved. Told Vanderbilt pushed really hard, and Dusty May really considered the options there, in addition to just the biggest possible contract offer FAU could put on the table to make him consider to stay. But here we are. It is going to be Michigan. Dusty May will be the next coach at Michigan, and he takes this after getting FAU to the Final Four last season. His team this season, highly hyped coming in, top 10 team, did underachieve versus preseason expectations, wasn't able to get an NCAA tournament win this season, got that 8 seed, and he is the biggest candidate on the carousel. There were so many different vacancies and openings that were attached to him, so now that he has chosen this, and this goes against what was industry buzz. The idea out there was that Dusty May was a Louisville lean. Personally, I was not all the way there on that because of Michigan's esteem. It is a job that's in the Big Ten, which is seen as stronger potentially than Louisville in the ACC. There's not as much pressure attached to the Michigan job as there is with Louisville. Michigan, although it's coming off a terrible year, Louisville is coming off of a worse year. So Dusty May, after pushing off taking any kind of job after making the Final Four, found himself highly coveted by a litany of high major openings, and he chooses here to go to Michigan on what I'm told is a 5-year deal. And from here, we will see other dominoes start to come out in the next 24, 48, 72 hours, because now that Dusty May has taken Michigan, now Louisville will have to redirect its search to its top candidate, how that impacts them, how it impacts Vanderbilt, which I'm told was not expecting Dusty May to say yes. However, it had the standing offer, and it was for Dusty to say no to. Now it will move on to its next candidates. This was the move, Hakeem, we were all waiting on. Dusty May to Michigan, and I would anticipate in the next 48 to 72 hours, we will start to see a lot of other high major vacancies begin to fill.
Dusty May back to the Midwest. He graduated from Indiana, famously a student manager under Bobby Knight for the Hoosiers program. And then, of course, when Indiana decided they were going to continue the contract with Mike Woodson, we knew, okay, Dusty May is, of course, not going to Indiana. Then Ohio State decided to keep Jake Diebler. He's not going to Ohio State. So where else do you go in the Big Ten? Michigan needs a head coach. It feels like a great fit for Dusty May to go to a program that has a lot of resources and that can get kids to come to their school to play basketball.
Yeah, so number one, this is going to sting for Indiana if Michigan starts running Indiana. I mean, you're going to be thinking about that every single time that Mike Woodson takes the court against someone who you felt like could have been the perfect fit. But there's something else that, you know, if I was to take some of my college football experience here, it takes a unique personality to be the men's basketball coach at Michigan, because no matter what's going on, whether you're running hot, running cold, it ain't Michigan football. And it's definitely not Michigan football coming right out of a national championship. And for some coaches, that might be a downside. But for some coaches, and I don't know Dusty personally, so I don't want to speak too much on this, but I think he might have the disposition where that's not a knock. Where the idea of being at an institution like Michigan, at a program that has succeeded at the very highest levels like Michigan, but then maybe you don't have everybody up in your kitchen the way that you would have at a place like Louisville at every single second of the step. You get some time, plan, you build the program your way, and I think you've got a little bit more wiggle room at Michigan than you would with the Cards.
If I can peel off of that, Hakeem. So I have talked to Dusty May on the record about the Indiana job and all this stuff. So he has told me multiple times, he has told me in months past that, you know, he grew up where he grew up in Indiana, dreaming to be a high school coach. And with Dusty May, I believe that is the case there. So not that the Indiana job wasn't something that he might aspire to one day get. He never thought that it would ever be possible there. And so for Indiana fans that were wondering if there might be a coaching change this time around when Dusty May was a hot candidate and inevitably was going to wind up being taken by one of these jobs, this is a little bit of an irony here that it winds up not being Louisville, which is, you know, in proximity close to Indiana in that part of the country there, but it is another school inside the Big Ten. It will be interesting. I will also say this. I have more context on the Michigan job in general and why Dusty went here and how it all fits. In tracking this search for the past couple of weeks, one very important part of the Michigan opening is that football is king in Ann Arbor. Obviously, the football program coming off the national championship, now it starts a new era in the post-Harbaugh era, which obviously Chip can speak to here. I love that he's on the desk on the night that this kind of stuff is breaking. But they did not want someone to take that job after Juwan Howard, who was going to try and take some of the spotlight away from football. They want to succeed in men's basketball. They want to win national championships. They want the program to do a really, really good job, but nothing to be done at the expense of what the football program is trying to do. Dusty May is not somebody that's considered to have a huge ego. He's a very humble guy. In fact, his star has gotten so bright because of FAU's run the past 2 years that he feels like a good fit, obviously with Midwest roots and ties there. And now we see what awaits, because you see what he did a year ago, and FAU was a terrible job when he went there. I mean, he went on record with me a year ago when they made the Final Four, admitting in public for the first time that I took this job, then I had a breakdown and went to my wife. I panicked. I wanted to get out of it. I signed. I was begging to get out of it. She said, no. You said, yes, you're going to take this job. What happened? He coached there 6 years, above 500 every year at a terrible job. He has proven that he can succeed at a place that did not have the resources. Now he's going to a place with a ton of resources. And not only that, in my opinion, Louisville is the better job. It has better history, but Michigan does rank clearly in the upper echelon of Big Ten jobs. It's a top 20 level job nationally, and you don't quite have the pressure cooker at Louisville. So as this news lands here, as we're playing out the second round of the tournament, this is a headline that reverberates across the sport. It will have downstream effects here. But Dusty May has a big challenge ahead of him, because it's worth saying at least this. There is no, and Dusty May would admit this, I'm sure, there's no guarantee this will work.
Oh, sure.
Right? I mean, FAU was a disappointing team in relation to where it was in the preseason and then not even getting a tournament win done, right? They even botched their chance in regulation on Friday at Barclays Center in Brooklyn. I was there. But he has shown a very good track record for his disposition, how he runs a program, and just taking a program that did not have hardly anything, like glorified high school gym that it played in, and getting them to a spot of national prominence here. So press conference will be coming in the coming days here. Official release may well be out before we get out of here on Saturday night. But yeah, big news, big news, big news.
Michigan is coming off its most losses in school history. They're 8-24. There was some controversy off the court with Juwan Howard and his staff. There were problems inside the program, and now there's a fresh restart here with Dusty May. So Dusty May comes in, Matt. What does a successful run look like for Dusty May? Because right now, 9 wins would be an upgrade for Michigan a year later if they go 8-24. And I know I'm sort of tongue-in-cheek there on that, but a season like what they just had, Dusty may come in there and win 15 games and maybe or you know, maybe sniff them to the NCAA tournament. That's success in year one. What does a successful run look like there, taking over a Big Ten high major program?
Just year one? Just year one?
What would you define as a successful run for Dusty May under the contract he's going to get.
Okay, so over the next 4 to 5 years, success for Michigan under those terms, absolutely multiple NCAA tournament appearances, and I'm not talking multiple appearances with double-digit seeds. You're getting in with room to spare. You're making at least one second weekend appearance there. If you tell me over the next 5 years, Dusty May is the head coach at the University of Michigan, and they make the NCAA tournament 3 of those 5 seasons and a 68-team field, oh, by the way, don't you dare touch that tournament. In a 68-team field, he makes it 3 out of 5 times. All 3 times are with plenty of leg room, and there's at least 1 second weekend appearance. I think that would be success defined, but they are hiring him with the idea that he will do in Ann Arbor what he did in Boca Raton, and that is make a Final Four.
Dusty May looking to resuscitate the program in Ann Arbor. Once an Indiana man, now a Michigan man. Dusty May to head coach of the Wolverines. And as you take a look at their last 5 seasons, look, you know, Juwan Howard did some good there. Elite 8, Sweet 16, but the last 2 seasons missing the NCAA tournament. And again, they went 8-24 this past season. Their most losses in school history. Looking to turn it around. Dusty May leaving FAU to take over the program in Ann Arbor, the new head coach of the Michigan basketball team.